I'm Flynn. Welcome to a special edition of Behind the Music. It's my great pleasure to introduce two of the people that are most intimately involved with the Houston Chamber Choir. We have Emily Jenkins, who is the choir's choral conducting intern, and we have operations manager and host of the Education Spotlight episodes that air on the last Friday of each month, April Harris. Welcome both. Thank you very much for being here.
Sinjin, thanks for speaking with us today. This is really exciting.
What I think is exciting as well is that the choir is in the middle of its virtual season because of the pandemic restrictions. And the next presentation is titled A Time to Lift Up. And you two are very closely involved in this production. Tell me what this is all about, Emily.
Yeah, so this is a really exciting offering that we have for this season because it's a time that we can really put emphasis on, lift up, and really celebrate the music educators, the programs, the singers, the families, the students that are all involved in this invitational every year, and particularly these educators that are working tirelessly right now to still give their students as much of themselves as possible, make as beautiful music as possible, and just put on a bright face during these, trying times. They're really heroes, and we just really want to promote them and hopefully inspire them, and like the concert says, lift them up a little bit and show our appreciation for all that they do.
Because April, if you are a choral director at a high school or a middle school or an elementary school, you have a problem right now because of masks and potentially not being teaching in person. So all these choral directors have to go sort of above and beyond to continue teaching their students.
Absolutely. And I think actually the Houston Chamber Choir's artistic director, Robert Simpson, put it best. He said, our educators, music educators, are already so used to just giving their all, that dedication, that passion for music and teaching their students new things and helping them experience new things, that it's definitely overwhelming and a shock, the circumstances that we're in right now. But as far as what we've seen from communicating with the choral directors, they're going full steam ahead in any way that they possibly can this school year. So it's been really, really amazing to kind of just interact with them and see exactly what's been going on.
This is a part of the Houston Chamber Choir's ongoing commitment to choral education. And I think for the past 21 years, they've offered the what's called the Hear the Future annual invitational choral festival. Emily, can you describe what that festival is all about?
Sure. So last year I had the absolute honor to be able to really be a big part of that, as our artistic director and some of the other staff were in LA for the Grammy celebration. So that weekend was amazing for me because I got to see, from the beginning. On Saturday of the weekend, we have a clinic where we invite pedagogues and conductors and really wonderful people in the field to come and work with choirs. And they sing for them, they give them pointers. They really just have a great time. And it's amazing for me to be able to watch because all parties learn a lot of things on that day. And so the choirs range in age and from different parts of Houston, and all local choirs that are just really doing a great job. And then on Sunday, we have invited choirs that we're promoting because they are making such great contributions to choral music. They're fine educators, fine students, and we really just want to celebrate their success. And so, this past year we had elementary, middle, and high school choirs, and they performed songs for this great audience. And it's just a really great time to celebrate their accomplishments, their hard work, and they make beautiful music.
I think one of the things that has really come to the fore since the onset of COVID-19 is I think the new hashtag for the Houston Chamber Choir, which is hashtag choral joy. And people get so much joy, so much pleasure, so much satisfaction from choral music, whether as a listener or as a choir member or as a choir director. And the pandemic has really limited the opportunities in many respects for people to express and to experience that joy. April, this is a way, a time to lift up is a way to sort of boost that sense of joy.
Absolutely. And in the absence of our Hear the Future concert for this season, we thought it was really, really important to still have a moment to just say thank you and to appreciate the educators and the students for just continuing on doing so much wonderful, amazing work throughout everything that they've been dealing with so far. And one of the most amazing things about the concert for me is being able to connect with choral directors and students from last season to Hear the Future 1, which was in 1999. It's really wonderful to hear from them about the experiences they had and how they still carry that with them 2 decades after. And it's one example in particular. I was in communication with a choral educator that's retired now, and she was a part of Hear the Future 1. So she was along with Bob and our education consultants, Sally and Eddie, in really getting this Hear the Future concert concept together, and making it just a realization from that dream. And when she was speaking with me, she would tell me everything about the concert, down to the students that were participating. And then also how she contributed to the next year. And that's when we actually added elementary schools to the roster for our annual concert. So that's been really a definite joy of mine, just being able to get in touch with everyone and just witness the joy, even though I wasn't able to be there in person, witness the joy through them.
Well, A Time to Lift Up debuts on Sunday, January 31st at noon, and will be available free of charge. Emily, what can we expect as part of that program? What will that presentation be like?
Sure. So, it's a really kind of a collage of a lot of different approaches to promote, inspire, and lift up educators and students and families and just viewers who are watching that love choral music. And so, we've got some past performances that we're highlighting and celebrating. We've got some interviews with people that we're talking to them about, what this invitational is like. But we've also talked to a lot of people, choral directors, about why they love teaching, how they're getting through this, the joys that they are still finding amidst these times. And we're really just going to see their overwhelming passion for what they do and for their students. And, we also have a part where we're celebrating the innovations and all of the ways that these educators are going absolutely above and beyond what's asked of them, which they do all the time. And so we're really hoping to celebrate that and also hopefully inspire other teachers or promote these really great innovations. And hopefully that might give them some ideas. So it's kind of a multifaceted approach to celebrating and promoting this profession and all that the educators and students really do to contribute.
April, what ideas have come across to you as you put this program together? What are some of the choral directors doing?
Yeah, well, in different ISDs, different circumstances for what they're able to offer their students in their community. So we've seen a wide variety of different ways that people are just showing how special they are. We've seen drive-through concerts, we've seen drive-in caroling, we've seen different pop shows and virtual concerts. It's so fulfilling, it's so heartwarming to see the response and the people that, despite what we're going through, they're able to just find a way and find something and make it beautiful. And this has just been really, really amazing for us because of all of the different varieties of things that we've been able to kind of see as resources for other individuals. Like Emily said, those choral directors or students that are feeling a bit down, overwhelmed, not quite sure where to move forward to. We hope that this will kind of be another tool and resource for guidance on that avenue as well.
I wonder, Emily, if because of the lockdowns, because of the pandemic, has that had an impact on the types of music that the choral directors are choosing for their choirs?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it depends. And I've talked to a lot of my friends and colleagues that are teaching, in public school, elementary school, and even collegiate settings. And I think for a lot of them, really the important thing right now and what they're finding is most fulfilling for them and their students is building community and continuing to talk to each other, talk about what they're going through, talk about music. So I've seen a lot of people, almost treating it as kind of an overview of music and just listening to recordings from every genre: jazz, musical theater, classical music, opera, and then just talking about it. And I think that's been, in my experience with my friends and colleagues, they've loved doing that. A lot of them also are just looking for music that will engage their students and that will also, lend itself perhaps to a virtual format. So, I think they really choose music wisely that way. But I think for a lot of people, it's just however they can keep them singing, keep them energized, so perhaps it's choosing music where the text is hopeful or inspiring. And it's just keeping them singing and building community that they can all really feel good about.
That sense of community, I think, is something that is very special and very particular to the choral singing. And it's imperative, really, during the pandemic, that we maintain that sense of choral joy and that sense, which is a sense of community. April, as you are putting this program, A Time to Lift Up, together, what are you learning? What are you discovering that fills your heart with joy?
I'm learning that despite what's going on, our choral directors, our music educators are just so passionate. They just love the students. The love of music and students is just so powerful. I think that that's one of the main things that I love about working for the Houston Chamber Choir is because I'm able to have those connections. I'm able to meet those extraordinary people that are so passionate about that profession of music education that it's very heartwarming. And I love being a part of this community and being able to share it with the world now that we have our Houston Chamber Choir digital stage and our different podcast episodes is just, it's amazing. I'm really looking forward to presenting the concert.
Well, Emily, as I said at the top of the interview, you are the Houston Chamber Choir's choral conducting intern. So you are the embodiment in many respects of the commitment that the choir has to choral education.
Yeah, it's been an amazing experience all around. My first season with the choir pre-pandemic, I had so many opportunities to conduct and rehearse and sit in on rehearsals every week of these incredible voices and witness, Robert Simpson's vision come to life every week. And then this season, and since the pandemic started, I've shifted a lot of my responsibilities and my goals with April Harris to, how can we reach out to these communities? How can we really promote education and get in there and hear from these educators and hear from these students? So I just feel so honored to be a part of this organization, and particularly the commitment to education outreach. And I'm really excited about how this concert series, how this particular concert, A Time to Lift Up, really embodies what we believe about music education.
Well, let me say again that A Time to Lift Up will debut virtually on Sunday, January 31st at noon, and is free to the public, and is a great testament to not just to the commitment that the Houston Chamber Choir has to choral education, but also to those choral directors, all those choral music educators who, as you say, go above and beyond to fill their hearts and the hearts of their students with that choral joy. Emily Jenkins and April Harris, thank you both very much.
Thank you, St. John. This was great.
Thank you so much for having us and speaking with us today.
And thank you to everybody who supports the Houston Chamber Choir as a sponsor, as a patron, as a viewer, as a listener. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm St. John Flynn, and this is Behind the Music.
The Houston Chamber Choirs with One Accord is your one-stop shop for choral joy. If you enjoyed this podcast, help us to continue our mission to grow the esteem and appreciation of choral music by sharing, reviewing, and subscribing to our content. As a 501c3 nonprofit, support from listeners like you allows us to continue making new and exciting programming. For more information about us and how you can support our work, please visit HoustonChamberChoir.org/give.